All right, worship leader, how do we get more people involved on our worship team? I'm going to be sharing 5 ways that I plan to get more people involved onto my new team at my new church that I just came to, and share the techniques and tactics that I plan on using to get people from the pews onto the stage and serving. So let's jump into that. If you're new to the channel, my name is Alex Infiege, and I'm the founder of Worship Ministry Training, an online training platform that has helped thousands of worship leaders build healthy, organized, and excellent worship ministries. And I'm also a worship pastor at a church, just like many of you. And I just came here and I don't have any team members on my team. So here are 5 things that I plan on doing over the next few weeks to get people involved. The first thing I've done, and this is the easiest, is just to ask. So I have asked around. I've asked the youth band leader, the young adults leader, the production director. I've asked who in the church is musical, who's currently serving in youth band, who's currently serving and leading worship for young adults. And I got a list of about 25 names. And then what I did is I sat down with those leaders and that list, and I said, tell me about each one of these people. Give them a grade. I know it sounds brutal, but you're not gossiping. You're just asking, like, where are they at musically? What do they play? How well do they play it? Do they have any experience with a click track? Do they have any experience playing in a large band setting? Like, tell me about each player and give them a grade. And so once I got a grade for each person, then I took the top people, the A and B students, and I put them into an A list. And I said, okay, these are the people that I'm going to reach out to. And honestly, I only had like 2 singers, and then I had a saxophone player, a trumpet player, an acoustic guitar player. So I didn't find the elusive electric guitar player or drummer at this point. Thankfully, we are currently paying for those positions in our main sanctuary, but you got to start with what you have. And so what I'm doing now is I'm reaching out to those singers. I'm sending an email introducing myself, telling them that they were referred to me and that I'd love to get to meet them. So that's the first step, is just asking and then making a list. The other thing I did with that list is I showed it to my executive director and some of the elders at the church, and I said, do you have any hesitations about any of these people getting involved? Are there any spiritual dynamics I need to know about? Is there anyone who's been under church discipline or who has been in sin or who has a bad attitude? So not only did I get input on the musical side from the youth leaders and the youth band leader, but I also got input on the spiritual, emotional maturity side from the elders and from the executive director of the church. So that's the first way to get people involved, is simply to ask others who might know. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to have an interest night. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to make an announcement in our main services, and I'm going to say, if anyone is interested in musicality or the technical arts, so basically music and production, if you're interested in either of those categories, I would love to meet you at our interest night that we're going to be having on such and such date. And please RSVP so we can buy pizza. It's going to be just a great time. There's not going to be any hurdles to jump over. There's not going to be any auditioning. It's just going to be a time for us to get to know you, to hang out, to meet. So if you're interested at all in singing or playing, or you wonder about singing and playing, or you're interested in cameras or photography or videography or whatever creative thing that you're interested in, we're going to have an interest night. And we would love to share our heart with you and share vision, to share where we believe God's calling us as a church, and we would love to get to know you. And that is a very, very low pressure way for people to raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm interested. It's a great way to meet the creative people in your church. And so that's how we are going to be trying to identify at least a couple from that group, because not everybody who shows up at that group is going to have the skill necessary, but at least now we know their name, we know their face, we have their email, and we can start developing them, training them, sending them materials, and then eventually getting them involved in the right context. And so that is the second way to get more people involved, is to have an interest night. It's a very low pressure way for people to self-identify that they are interested in serving. The third way to get more people involved is to create some easy entry points for serving. So not everybody is going to have the skill to play a complicated drum beat to a click track, but there are probably a few people in the church who can play a shaker and a tambourine, and maybe hit a drum pad once in a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a percussionist position. I have actually my cymbal stand right here, and I'm going to actually make another video showing you how I build a percussion position, but it'll have a cymbal up top with a mallet for cymbal swells. It'll have a tray with shaker tambourine, and it'll have a SPDSX drum pad, drum sampling machine with some nice samples on it for the more electronic elements of a song. And that percussion position is a very easy entry point for people to begin serving. So that is something you should think about, is what positions are pretty easy for people to get involved. So for me, it's going to be that percussion one. It's going to be some additional harmony background singers. I'm going to be getting those 2 girls involved that I told you about earlier. Also, acoustic guitar is a very easy entry-level position. So I already play acoustic on the team, but I can have a second person who's maybe not as skilled in the background, and we just turn them down slightly and they get experience, and I give them feedback and coaching to get them to a better level of playing. So think about some entry-level positions. Another example is that we have one of the people on the list who plays saxophone really well. Well, there's no rule that says worship music can't have saxophone. Now, you don't want a saxophone player soloing all over your band and all that stuff, but if I can give him direction and coach him, why don't we use him? I mean, why not get him involved? And the reason why I would get him involved is so that people in the church say, oh, look, there are a lot of people getting involved on the worship team. Maybe I could approach Alex and ask if I could be involved too. So the more familiar faces they see on the stage and the more variety they see on the stage, the more they're going to be willing to feel like, oh, maybe there's a space for me too. And so those are the easy entry points that I'm talking about. Okay, so the 4th way to get more people involved in your worship team is to invite people to be a part of something. So every month at our church, we have a choir. So what I'm going to do is every single month that choir sings with our band, I'm going to say, hey, if there's anyone in the room who would like to sing in the choir next month, I'd love to meet you right up in front after service. Come meet me. I'll get your email. I'll get you the information you need. And we would love to have you be a part of the choir next month. And so they're seeing the choir, and then they're being invited to join the choir. So every time the choir is singing, it's basically a free advertisement, as long as I am intentional to communicate that need during that opportunity. So I'm inviting them to be part of the choir. The other things you can invite people to are things like workshops. So you could do a vocalist workshop. Say, hey, in 3 Saturdays from now, we're going to be doing a workshop for people who want to learn how to sing or want to learn how to sing better. Either someone from our volunteer team is going to lead it, or the worship leader is going to lead it, or we're going to hire somebody from the outside to come teach you how to sing. Whatever you decide to do, however you decide to do it. A workshop is a great way for people who might be interested or perhaps even have past experience in singing, and maybe they're just too shy to do an audition or to approach you, but you're holding a workshop. Well, here they come, they show up, and oh my gosh, you sing such beautiful harmony. How come you're not involved? That's exactly the type of stuff you want to be inviting people into. Besides workshops, you can do like drum circle on the beach, and then you find out everyone who has rhythm and everyone who doesn't have rhythm, right? Or you can do a creatives picnic or a musicians picnic, or some sort of potluck. Like, just start to invite people to these non-threatening opportunities, and then you'll discover their talent. And as you do this, a key factor in finding more and more people is tapping into those new people's networks. So everybody who comes into your orbit is connected to 40 or 50 or 60 other people that you didn't have access to previously. But now that you know this person, you can ask them and say, do you know other people who sing? Do you know other drummers? Or we're looking for bass players. Do you know any? And with every new person that you add into your orbit, you have access to their 50, 60, 70 people networks. And so you're going to start to discover more and more people within the church or surrounding the church that are musical and that would love to be involved with you. And so those are the 5 ways that I plan to get more and more people involved in my worship team. Now, there's a whole other question about how do we audition them? How do we onboard them? And I will make videos for that in the future. Or you can join the Worship Ministry Training Academy, where I have courses for that. I have done for you audition process. I have done for you onboarding documents. I have done for you musician training material. So if you want to try the Academy, you can try that for just $1 by going to worshipministrytraining.com, and you can get full access for 15 days. So I would love to meet you inside of the Worship Ministry Training Academy at worshipministrytraining.com. But you need to find the people first, then you can audition them and bring them in. I hope that you are able to build the team and get more people involved at ministry at your church, because Scripture says our job is to equip the saints to do the ministry. We equip them to serve one another. And so I pray God allows you to have that. And let me just add this bonus tip: pray. Pray, 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 because Jesus said the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Therefore, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would send laborers into the harvest field. So pray that God sends you the right people as you begin searching and trying some of these methods. Oh yeah, I should also let you know I'm building my ministry from scratch on YouTube. So if you want to watch how I build my worship ministry from scratch at this church, subscribe, like, all that stuff, but subscribe so that you can see how I'm building it each step of the way, and I will teach you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and how you can do it at your church. So subscribe and follow along. Thanks for letting me encourage you. If you know someone who needs to see this video, send it to them. Please, please, please be a good friend to them and to me, and I will see you in the next video. God bless.